Like to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting, and we'll start off with the consideration or approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We'll call the roll.
Noah. Friesman.
Aye.
Pittman.
Aye.
Knighton.
Aye.
Next up, then we have the consideration approval of the minutes of the October 20th and October 29th meetings. Any questions on those minutes?
I'd so move to approve.
Second.
Any further comments on the minutes? We'll call the roll.
Friesman.
Aye.
Pittman.
Aye.
Knighton.
Aye.
Noah. Aye.
Next up, then we have consideration of the consent calendar. Does anybody have any questions on the consent calendar?
I move to approve.
Second.
Any other comments? Clerk will call the roll.
Pittman.
Aye.
Knighton.
Aye.
Noah. Friesman.
Aye.
All right, a couple of things under business of the mayor. First of all, last week we had my mayor's advisory youth council. Baked 19 dozen cookies last Tuesday night. We had a good turnout I have 13 members on my council, and then I bought 3 extra friends. So we made 19 dozen cookies, and then Friday morning, a group of about 6 of us went around and delivered those to different businesses and entities throughout the community, kind of as a Halloween treat from the mayor's youth council, and just kind of to get their name out there a little bit, to let people know that they do exist. And Brittany Squire, Destiny Squire was kind of our spokesperson. She kind of just started the first one, and we just, good job, Brittany, or let Destiny just do it every time. So she, explained what the group was. We got this group together because we wanted to hear the youth input on what would be good for our community. And so she said, we want to do what's good for our community for us, but we also want to do what's good for our community for everybody else too. And so as an appreciation for what you do for our community, we just wanted to give you this Halloween treat of cookies. So went to, I think, 20 different businesses on Friday morning and distributed cookies. So that was a fun time. And I think kind of got their name out there in the community a little bit too. The next thing then is the proclamation for Alzheimer's Awareness Month. We've gotten this the last couple of years from the national organization. I think there's close to 30 places in Iowa, and then there's, I don't know how many there are nationwide of places that are lighting their areas teal. And so our water tower will be lit tonight in teal because this is National Alzheimer's Awareness Night. It's actually for the whole month, but this is the night of awarding teal to different lighting opportunities. So I'd like to have a motion to approve that proclamation. We do already have it. Contacted Corey at the water department, and they're lighting the tower tonight. So
Okay, so moved.
Second.
clerk will call the roll.
Knighton.
Aye.
Noah. Friesman.
Aye.
Pittman.
Aye.
And I will then read the proclamation, which says, whereas Alzheimer's disease is the most common form of dementia, a progressive and devastating affliction of the brain that slowly erodes a person's memory, cognitive abilities, personality, and their capacity to function independently, affecting over 6.9 million Americans. And whereas in Iowa, an estimated 62,000 people aged 65 and older are currently living with Alzheimer's disease, and this number is projected to increase as the population ages. And whereas Alzheimer's disease is not a normal part of aging, and it impacts a significant portion of our long-term care residents, with the majority of people admitted to nursing homes suffering from Alzheimer's or related dementia. And whereas a person diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease may live for many years from the onset of symptoms, requiring continuous and often escalating care, with the annual cost of care for all people living with dementia projected to reach $360 million nationally, and that was in 2024. And whereas nearly 100,000 dedicated family members and friends in Iowa provided an estimated 125 million hours of unpaid care for loved ones with Alzheimer's, a tireless effort valued at billions of dollars, underscoring the profound personal and financial burden of this disease. And whereas Iowa maintains a vital center for research and innovation to the cause, care, and potential prevention and cure of Alzheimer's disease, striving to provide families with the knowledge and tools to effectively cope with this illness. Whereas Iowans continue to take a positive and active stance against this disease, supported by the Alzheimer's Association Iowa chapter and its network of local groups and resources, which provide essential care, support, and education to victims and families across the state. Now therefore, I, Dean Andrews, Mayor of Charles City, Iowa, do hereby proclaim the month of November 2025 as Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month in Charles City. As mayor, I call upon all citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools in Charles City to observe this month with appropriate activities and ceremonies to enhance public awareness and support for those affected by Alzheimer's disease. So I know we all are aware of the disease that, as it says in here, as our population ages, it's just going to get to be more and more unless we can find some way to treat that. But it certainly is a month to be aware, not only people has Alzheimer's, but also their caregivers, because it's very hard to go to caregivers also. So just wanted to make that proclamation and make our community aware. Next up, then we have a public hearing on the 2025 storm sewer improvement project. And we have an affidavit of publication.
Yes, October 21st, 2025.
And have we received any written comments?
No.
How about any oral comments? John, are you gonna bring that up for later? Did you get a comment on part of the project?
I was gonna bring that,
Okay.
got it.
Motion closed.
I move close.
Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Noah.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Pittman.
Aye.
Knight.
Aye.
Then we'll consider resolution 11025. John, do you want to give us an update?
Yeah, so, okay, this is, we're calling it the 2025 Storm Sewer Improvement Project. It's 4 locations. The west end of 17th Avenue. The city's kind of satellite shop. They're at 808 North Main, which is the old former Cowles site. There's a very flat alley in the 900 block of Hewlin. That's between Milwaukee and Harwood, where the plan was to extend some storm sewer from the Hewlin Street storm sewer to get some drainage for that alley. The 4th location was at the west end of Park Lane Drive, the cul-de-sac. We had sump pumps discharging into the street. We can extend some existing subdrain to pick those items up, much like what we did for North Missouri back in 2019. We were able to dry up that area, keep the water off the street. So during the bidding process, we had 2 addendums were issued. The first addendum, it addressed the bid bond requirements. Also, we added some notes on the plans. The hatchers at the west end of 17th Avenue wanted some more chip rock on their driveway than what we had. So we made those items, those changes. It didn't change the scope of the project. Now, the second addendum, so not last week, the week before last, but basically a week, actually less than a week before the letting, received a phone call from a property owner along the alley project there at Hewlin. And that project required 4 easements, temporary easements. The alley is only 18 feet wide, and what we were requesting was 3-foot wide temporary easements from 4 property owners. We received 2 easements, but the majority of the easement area was actually with 2 property owners, and both of them said they were against the project and they were not going to sign the easements. So since it's just a very narrow area and we had 2 property owners that were against the project, we felt it was best to just eliminate that portion of the project. The design of the project, it's on the shelf, so that could always be pulled later as a standalone project. But so that did change the scope of the project. So instead of having 4 locations, we have 3 locations, and that's how it was sent out for bidding. So I would still recommend approval of resolution 11025, approving the final plans.
Questions for John? So this resolution is to approve the plans, correct?
The final plans, which basically is the same as the preliminary plans, but and with the 2 addendums. And the second addendum also included a revised proposal form because of the changes in quantities.
I so move to approve, final plans. Second.
Any other comments? Call the roll.
Friesman,
Aye.
Pittman. Knighton.
Aye.
Noah.
Aye.
And then we have resolution 11125, and this is awarding the project, the contract and bond for this improvement project. Do you want to discuss that, John?
Yeah, so last Thursday we opened bids. We actually received 9 bids for this project. And the bids were pretty wide ranging. I include a tabulation in the packet, and in the summary there, it shows the totals as well. And the low bid, the bids range from 73,000 up to 140,000. And the bids included, proposal form included 2 alternates. First alternate was a deduct for use of HDPE pipe, basically plastic pipe instead of reinforced concrete pipe, as well as at the 808 North Main site. That included, in order to get an intake in place, we had to remove some of the concrete parking lot that's there. So we bid it out, 1, replacing it with concrete. And the second, I talked to Tony and we talked about this, and this felt that, you know, if the cost was too high, that the street department could actually replace that parking lot later, that portion of the parking lot. So the 2 alternates, actually the basis of the award was based on total bid. But even with the alternates in place, it didn't affect the low bidders. Denver Underground and grading was the low bidder at $72,881. The deduct for HDPE pipe was only $1 per foot. So we would recommend not taking any type of a deduct using reinforced concrete pipe. And their cost for replacing with concrete paving was $5,500. So we feel it was more cost advantageous, you know, it's just a better, more advantageous to the city to have the bidder, the contractor do that rather than our staff do that. Because we'd still have to prepare the site, pay for the concrete. So what we are recommending is that alternate be accepted. So the total cost of the contract is $78,381. So I'd recommend approval of resolution 11125, awarding the contract to Denver Underground and Grading in that amount.
Have we worked with Denver Underground and Grading in the past?
They have not, at least recently, they have not worked here. They have been low bidder.
Okay.
And they've been around for quite a while. And also with this project, they will have to have a performance and payment bond as well.
Okay.
As part of their contract.
Questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
Other comments? Let me call the roll.
Pittman.
Aye.
Knighton.
Aye.
Noah. Friesman.
Aye.
All right. Was that a weather dependent project on fall or spring?
Well, actually, the project itself has a completion date of May 29th. Now, the contract documents did state, you know, the city, they're going to do anything, any part of the project this fall, we'd like to see the 17th Avenue portion completed first. They did say, I did talk to Denver Underground, they did say they were actually looking for work and chances. It's very likely they may proceed and start doing some work this fall.
All right. Next up, then we have a public hearing concerning ordinance 1195. And this is changed to the Charles City Unified Development Ordinance to increase maximum height and number of stories for conditional uses in M1 and M2 districts. We have an affidavit of publication for that one of 10/24. Have we received any written comments?
No,
Do we have any oral comments tonight?
I'd move to close.
Second.
Call the roll.
Knighton,
Aye.
Noah, Friesman,
Aye.
Pittman.
Aye.
John, you want to give us an update again on this one? We've talked about it before.
yeah, we've talked about it before. You know, our initial meeting, we actually heard from Tim Fox that this is more of an economic development issue than anything else. And right now, the UDO says 40 feet for a maximum building height. What this changes is to raise that to 75 and to have maximum number of stories raised from 4 to 6. And we've actually discussed this at multiple meetings, both between the Planning and Zoning Commission and the City Council here. So we've held the public hearing. And following we're recommending the second reading is approved. Following that, because of the time sensitivity, Tim Fox, because of other economic development issues, he would like to see this be changed sooner rather than later. So we haven't received any comments. So we'd recommend the council waive the third reading and approve a motion adopting the ordinance and authorizing publication of it.
This has all been by the fire department, and that's all good, correct?
Yes, yes.
And as far as water department, we got enough pressure to push water 5, 6 stories tall. All that good sort of stuff. Since there've been no comments, I'd move to approve.
Second.
Any other comments tonight? Call the roll.
Noah, Friesman.
Aye.
Pittman.
Aye.
Knighton.
Aye.
We will then have the second reading of ordinance 1195.
Ordinance number 1195 and an ordinance amending sections 2.1.16.6 and 2.1.17.6, both requirements of the Charles City Unified Development Ordinance to increase the maximum height and number of stories for conditional uses and permitted uses in M-1 light industrial and M-2 general industrial districts.
Like John said, due to the timeliness of this ordinance and the fact that we have discussed it quite a bit, we would consider a motion to waive the third reading and then publish ordinance 1195.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments there? We'll call the roll.
Friesman.
Aye.
Pittman.
Aye.
Knighton.
Aye.
Noah.
All right, very good. Next, then we have another second reading. This is ordinance number 1196. And this is regarding chapter 50 of the nuisance abatement procedure, section 02 nuisances. Chapter 51, subsection 01 of junk vehicles and inoperable vehicles. Discussion.
Hugh couldn't be here tonight, just asked me to provide the summary. We're looking at making 2 changes to the nuisance ordinance. The first is to expand on the definition of what constitutes a nuisance under our code to cover a number of items that are stored outside for more than 7 straight days. The second change pertains to the definition of junk vehicle, and those changes are highlighted in the ordinance that's enclosed in the packet. we talked about this a few times at different planning sessions and at our last regular meeting. So we are looking to approve and hold the second reading tonight.
Questions or comments?
I think these are all good moves to kind of help strengthen the ordinance. Hopefully clean our community up a little bit here and there.
I would move to approve, oh, sorry, you were done.
Go ahead.
I would move to approve the second reading of ordinance 1186.
Second.
Any other comments? Clerk will call the roll.
Pittman,
Aye.
Knighton.
Aye.
Noah, aye. Friesman.
Aye.
We're gonna have the second reading.
Ordinance number of 1196, an ordinance amending the Charles City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 50, nuisance abatement procedures, Section 2, nuisances enumerated to include the outdoor storage of specified items as a nuisance condition, and Chapter 51, junk and junk vehicles, subsection 1, definitions to modify the definitions of a junk vehicle and inoperable vehicle.
You. Next up then we have resolution 10125, and this is constructing a metal storage shed at Wildwood Golf Course. Tyler's not here tonight, but we knew he wasn't going to be. John, are you gonna talk about this, or anyone want to talk about this one, or?
Well, I can, it's, this is for the, Wildwood Golf Course for additional storage and, a place for, rental cars. And we talked about this before, actually, it came up that, there was a question on the bid, whether it was including, footings. Tyler, went back to the contractor and it did include footings. So, Tyler received two bids, one from Countryside Construction for $35,470. The second was for, almost $46,000, so it's just slightly more than the budgeted amount, but we're still recommending approval of, 101.25 for the, storage building with, for the golf course.
Questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a question. Part of the objective of this or benefit of this would be to add more rental sheds. A community member asked me if we knew how many rental sheds that would be, how much income would this bring to kind of offset the expense of this? I don't know if we ever asked that.
I feel like he said it at some point, but I don't know about that, or maybe it was in a Parks and Rec meeting.
I mean, it must have been Parks and Rec, because I
Yeah.
remember him saying he was here.
I said I'd ask, so I asked and
I don't remember if you said a number, but I do remember you said, they were running out of space with their current storage and were having to store carts in spots that weren't supposed to be storage shed for carts.
And they do have a waiting list of people wanting to have storage cart rental, but yeah, I don't recall a number either.
Okay.
I also, I don't know if anyone else got a comment from a citizen I saw today on email, concerning the historic nature of Wildwood, and if a metal shed is appropriate for that area. I guess my own opinion is it's not front and center, and this is kind of back in the back area. This is good for the storage shed. This is not for cart shed, so it would allow the original cart shed buildings to be used for their original purpose, I guess would be my answer to that, that this is providing the cart sheds to be used for what they're supposed to be used for.
And it doesn't affect the elevations, like the view of the existing historic structures, and I did look after I got that email at the National Park Service, like recommendations if you're going to be building additional structures on a national historic register site. And there were historic preservation members here on two of the nights, I believe, that Tyler spoke about it, because I think the first time he brought it up, we also discussed the bridge that night, and they were here for that. And the second time he came, second or third time he came to it, there was another preservation committee member here, just who happened to be here for something else, and they haven't come to us with any concerns either, and that was something else he had expressed in that email, so. Yeah,
Isn't there already a post frame building out there?
There's two or
yeah,
at least two, maybe three.
I was gonna say, I was thinking there was one when you drive straight in the driveway off to the left-hand side a little bit, so it's not like this is gonna be something totally new. Out of the ordinary.
This one being black, those are kind of some blue faded color, so this will look better than the two that are existing out there now.
I don't know, you'd figure 5 foot by 7 foot for a golf cart. Or 6 by 7. You'd probably get about 30 carts in there if you were gonna use it for cart storage.
Yeah, I don't think that's what they were saying.
No, I mean, if that wasn't questioned, that'd be my response to that. I don't know what they charge out there. But they needed it for storage, I don't know what I'm saying.
You need to open up the cart sheds that are already there, that are being used for storage, and I don't know how many that is. We could certainly find out. You know, if the person wants to know.
Okay, perfect.
I
Right back
call
there.
Joel and ask Joel that question. Joel's in town, Tyler's just gone, but Joel would certainly know the answer to that question.
Mhm.
Any other comments, questions? Not, do we have a motion?
I'd move to approve.
Second,
Further comments? We'll call the roll.
Knighton,
Aye.
Noah, Friesman.
aye,
Pittman.
I,
All right. Next up, then we have resolution 11225, and this is approving funding for a project at 409 North Main Street submitted to the city to the facade program. Mark asked me if he needed to be here tonight. I told him I didn't think so. We got a good explanation of this at our workshop versus the theater project. Maintaining that building by doing some tuck pointing work. So I think that's kind of exactly what the facade program was set up to do. Any questions there?
looks like a good use of that program for that kind of a building.
I wasn't clear if they didn't get other funding, were they gonna go ahead with it, or what would happen to the $10,000? Prove this,
To me, if they weren't to get the funding, this money wouldn't get expended at that point in time.
and then they give it back.
It'd have to be returned if it wasn't used for the purpose it was intended for. That's why that program's always worked in the past, and I've been a part of it.
Yeah.
And they don't get the complete amount up front anyway, right off the bat, they only get 65%. And then the remainder, once the project's completed, so.
I'm guessing if they don't get the other funding, they wouldn't do the project, so they wouldn't even get the initial money until they finalize the project. And it's not, we're gonna give them money and say, hope you make enough money to do the project. I think we would have to know there is a project before this money would be awarded.
Absolutely.
Would be my understanding of how that works.
So that's how that program's always worked in the past.
Give it funding.
Yeah, that's a good question, though, we don't just wanna give them money and say, hope you can use it.
I would move to approve.
second,
Any further comments? We'll call the roll.
Noah, Friesman.
Aye.
Pittman.
I,
Knighton.
Aye.
Next up, then we have resolution 11325, approving the mutual aid and assistance agreement for Iowa Water and Wastewater Agency Response Network. All right.
All right, thanks, Mayor. So yeah, like the Mayor said, we talked about this last Wednesday. This is a mutual aid, statewide mutual aid program that allows water, wastewater utilities to assist one another during emergencies or disasters. This is for licensed operators, equipment, anything like that. It's a pre-program offered kind of through the EPA, Iowa Warren. And, work under no obligation to respond, send equipment or operators. Brad looked over the contract, contact Assistant Associates, and everybody was happy with the requirements and everything that we have, so. We're looking for approval of resolution 11325.
This one to me just makes sense. I mean, it just seems like a win-win, kind of a no risk way to get assistance when needed and provide it when we can. So I would move up to approve resolution 11325.
I would second that and say it's, to me, no different than the mutual aid agreements we have with the fire department. Which make a lot of sense too, so.
Any other comments? Call the roll.
Friesman,
Aye.
Pittman,
Aye.
Knighton.
Aye.
No. Aye.
While you're there, we're on resolution 11425. This is approving agreement with, for professional services with Short Elliott Hendrickson for lead service line replacement funding assistance.
So on the opposite of the spectrum, this is, based on the new lead and copper improvement requirements. That in the next 10 years by 2037, so starting 2027, 10 years from there, that 100% of all lead service lines in government and fire replacement lines are completely replaced throughout the city. This is kind of piggybacking on the PER and the IUP paperwork that we're going to submit, and then kind of pulling some of that off to save some funding there, but work with SEH, putting an application through the state revolving fund for the loan forgiveness. We ended up on 900 services, $18 million for the application. So we're looking for approval of contract with SEH for resolution 11425.
Corey, will this be like a drawdown borrow that, or will we get the whole 9 million, or will we get the money as we need it, or how will that work, do you know?
I'd have to be back to you on that, Mayor.
I believe state revolving fund is all drawdown. You get reimbursed when you send them the invoices. So as I said in the agenda summary, later on, if we can adjust the size of the project for whatever money is available at the time. We don't obviously have to get the whole 900 done in 10 years, but we don't have to do them all at once. Just, we can phase that to whatever chunks make sense financially for the city.
Questions for Dan or Corey?
Appreciate the time you put into looking at this thing and trying to get it going, and like you say, I'm sure it's something that isn't gonna go away. It may not happen exactly as we're all thinking now, but it's gonna happen at some point, I'm sure, so. Might as well get started on it up front.
Thanks.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any other comments? Or call the roll.
Pittman,
Aye.
Knighton.
Aye.
Noah. Aye. Friesman.
Aye.
And one more, or just tomorrow, jump to the moving on.
I'll leave you guys alone till next year.
Resolution 11525 is approving an agreement to delay termination of sanitary sewer and water services at 1312 Gilbert Street. John.
Yeah, so Young Construction, they purchased the former Heartwood Inn, and their plan is to convert that into apartments. What they want to do is use the two Westerly buildings for apartments. They looked at the Easterly building, the two-story building, and they've determined that was not suitable, so actually they have demolished that already. Now, our ordinance, our code requires when services are terminated to be, when they're abandoned, they need to be terminated at the main. So Brad has prepared an agreement, and actually recently the council approved that same type of an agreement for 1104 Freeman Street. And so that what they are asking for is for 2 years. To delay any type of termination, to give them time to do planning, to know what they're gonna do with that area for new buildings. We heard from Amber with Young Construction at the planning session. So we would recommend approval of this resolution and that agreement to just provide that two years to give them some time before we force them to terminate those services.
It makes sense to me, so I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any other comments?
John, is that 2 years from right now? Or approval of this?
Yeah, the agreement would be dated today with, because of the council meeting tonight.
Other comments? Call the roll.
Knighton,
Aye.
Noah,
Aye.
Friesman,
Aye.
Pittman.
Right. And then we're just looking for a motion next to approve our sales stand permit application. Brad, you kind of had worked on this. Do you want to kind of give a little summary?
Sure. This started, about 2 months ago, with a citizen who had reached out about putting up a sales stand, by Cardigan, and our, code would allow for that in certain circumstances. So from there, council was in favor of putting together a form of a permit that someone could complete and provide to council for future use of a sales stand. All we're looking for approval tonight from council for is the form of the application, which is included in the packet. And then if that's approved, if citizens want to use a sales stand in the future, like to complete that application, and it has to be approved by council on a case-by-case basis. So we're looking for a motion to approve that sales stand permit application, and then we can work from there. We can work with the citizen to have them complete and submit that, which would be brought back to council for consideration at a later date.
I'm happy with how this turned out. I think it's kind of a nice combination of allowing people to try some creative ways to start up a new business, but allows us a little bit of, oversight and just ensuring that it's going to be operated safely and in a, a timeframe that we feel is reasonable and all of those. So I appreciate the work, Brad, that you guys put in on this. So I would move to approve.
I'd second that. They also say it helps the city maintain a little bit of control over those type of
Yeah.
operations, because we don't need all of our sidewalks taken up with stands and
I don't agree at this point, so I'll start with that. Cause I think this will, open the doors to standing up stands and vending machines on sidewalks in Main Street, and I don't think from what I gather, one citizen's asked for this one time. And so to change, to allow this is something I'm comfortable agreeing to yet. Unless I'm interpreting it wrong. I mean, I did hear Brad say that this is just approving really an application. The council would still have the ability to say no.
Right.
But in my heart, I feel like I'm always gonna say no. I'm gonna say no to an application. I don't think it's the way I want to see Charles City grow at this point. I think pop-ups could go inside. I think they could find other parts. So just letting y'all know that.
Yeah, I just think this is, again, it's gonna be, you always hate to say that, but this is gonna be a case-by-case basis. And I think the one that's presented is certainly gonna be seasonal. And I think small enough that if this person had to have a brick and mortar place, this would not be feasible. Now, maybe as she does it as a pop-up, it could be, she could find out that it will be something that she could have a brick and mortar location. So I think we're kind of doing this almost like this incubator spaces. But I think, yeah, as both of you said, we have to be careful, we don't have pop-ups all up and down the street. Other comments?
I guess I would disagree with you a little bit. I mean, I don't have a problem with the application, with them filling out the application and proposing it. I think, like I said, on a case-by-case basis, we can discuss and, and decide whether or not it's feasible for them to permit them use of the sidewalk for, it seems like it's kind of like a test, like the mayor said, opportunity to test out the market to see. So, personally, I may, on this particular application that I was thinking about, I more thought about it, I would almost likely vote no towards that proposed stand that we've heard about so far. And that being said, because we already have a brick and mortar that services that product, we have a few brick and mortars that serve that product. So, I would almost be opposed to allowing a sidewalk stand for something like that. But like I said, it's case by case basis, so I don't have a problem approving the proposed application as it stands, knowing that we'll have the oversight to approve or deny, based on, the application and what they're actually trying to distribute. Is it something new, or is it something that we already have and you're just trying to circumvent the system by setting up a sidewalk stand, And I think we'd be able to, as a council, we could sit and debate and look at those things on a case by case basis, And I don't think that we'll always say no. There may be somebody that can come up with something that's new and original. But like I said, if it's something that's not, I would lean on the side to say no. So I don't think that it's just opening up Pandora's box and letting everybody and anybody do this just to, circumvent the system. I think that's where we come in. If we do our jobs correctly, we're that stopgap, we're that mechanism that'll shut that down and not draw animosity from, like you said, the brick and mortars that are already out there and have set up and established their investment in the community. So I don't know if that helps,
It does, thank you for sharing. Brad, I have another question for you on the indemnification of the city. Do you really think that will uphold? If somebody was to get injured on one of these stands, can you defend that?
Yeah, and I think we're gonna require, proof of insurance too, I think that was part of the permit process. So that if there was an incident, we have proof that they have insurance that they can turn to cover any potential claims. So yeah, I guess I'm comfortable with the permit application we've included. And the way our code reads right now, it says you can have a sales stand on a sidewalk, but you have to have a written permit from council. And we don't have a form, so this is intended to kind of provide that form if council did want to consider providing such a permit in the future. So yeah, again, we're just voting on the form tonight, and then if someone wanted to apply at a later date, they'd have to come to council and present their case to council as to why they think that should be allowed.
Sorry, I thought you were getting on here early. I have another question. In the beginning, didn't we talk about the reason we couldn't do that in this instance was because there's nothing in the code that gives the property owner the right to pass along their right to use the sidewalk? Am I remembering that right?
Yes, there's a merchandise display too, that was included in the agenda summary. And that, prohibits, so it's 136.20 there, it, prohibits the display of merchandise so as to interfere with free and uninterrupted passage on the sidewalk. And in no case shall more than 2 feet of sidewalk next to the building be occupied. Or I guess staff's thought that was, these two code sections kind of work in conjunction with each other, and that the intent was that you'd allow merchandise or sales stands to be set up and displayed for someone that already owns property adjacent to the sidewalk, as opposed to an independent third party. But I think there's enough wiggle room in the code there, where if we wanted to allow a third party to come along and work with a property owner to set up the sales stand, that's something I think council couldn't authorize under the existing language of the code.
I think,
So we, I mean, we were kind of with you, Chris, initially staff was that I'm not sure this is something we necessarily wanna be allowing. But after the feedback from, I guess the feedback from council was that we're potentially interested in allowing this. We'd like staff to prepare an application that people can complete and submit if they want council to consider this in the future.
I also kind of look at this, we kind of always review and kind of clean up code when needed. And this is a code that says, first obtain written permit, you know, obtain permission from the council. And we didn't really have a mechanism yet for anybody to get that permission or that permit. And so, any stand moving forward to me is kind of secondary to just making what we have in place line up with what we say should happen in the code. Because why would we have a code that says you need a permit, but then we don't have a permit for it? It feels like somebody would just be stuck in this loop of constantly being sent from one office to the other and, you know, told to get, you know, whatever. So, yeah, to me, this is also just cleaning things up and making it actually possible, not just written down that it's almost like it's giving false hope as it is now. Go get a permit. Oh, we don't have that permit. That's not a real thing, you know, so.
Also, I think because of the seasonal basis, if it does become a problem, you can always revisit it and get rid of that whole code section if it becomes a problem. A future council could just stop doing it at some point if it. Cause they all have to clear out by October 1st anyway, so. Sometime between October and whenever they start, council could decide not to. Just get rid of the program altogether.
one last question, Brad, I guess, is you, does this need unanimous vote to pass?
No. It's majority, so we need 3 votes tonight.
I'd so move to approve the stand permit application as written.
Did we already have a motion?
They never do it.
Okay.
No, that was it.
Oh.
That's, no, we have nothing.
Yeah, that's what I thought we did too.
So do we have a second?
Second.
Any other comments?
Wait a minute.
I was gonna say, I thought
Yes, we did. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. Pittman Friesman.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry, guys.
No, that's fine.
See, it's contagious. I'm sitting too close to Brittany.
Can I move?
7 o'clock past, I'll be there.
Any further comments? Clerk will call the roll.
Noah,
Nay.
Friesman,
Aye.
Pittman, Knight.
Aye.
Thank you. Good discussion. We will move forward with the permit application. Does anybody receive any further miscellaneous correspondence? Brad, anything else on your report? Brittany, how about you?
Just our next cleaning session is Wednesday, November 12th. And then we will have a regular meeting November 17th, and that is it for November. So with the Wednesday being the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I was told that we normally cancel. So if you guys are okay with that, it's in your plan.
So then you do council meeting without a workshop in between, or you don't make up the work in this workshop?
You can come to one all by yourself if you like.
She's not on the council then. She
I
can
know.
come along.
Even more reason you come by yourself.
So next 2 months we'll look.
You can still come.
I will still come to stay and to what's going on.
And I think the plan is that, November 12th council meeting is the time when we will have kind of the public forum on the bridge replacement versus restoration to allow people to give comments. We'll try to keep that somewhat organized that night, depending on how many commenters we have, but I think we brought it up when we were talking about it. It'd be good to hear the community's input on that before we make a decision, so I think that will be a good. We don't have, I think we maybe have one other small thing on that agenda right now anyway, so. And will be devoted mostly to that, bridge discussion. Dan, anything for you to report further?
So we met with, several of us met with the Kading people today. They're getting started on their project. There's some hoops to jump through yet and but they're moving forward and, it appears like nothing will happen until spring, so, we can work through all these, development agreement and some of the other paperwork to get through. So they're ready to go in the spring. And then, I mentioned it last time, but we'll need to get a committee together to discuss the incentive program and, whatever, I can't remember what the other thing was, but that we did at the same time, but,
Chamber
oh, the chamber thing, yeah,
out of TIF district
yeah.
incentive fund.
Yeah, that was good.
So in the next couple of weeks, we'll get together and do that when
And you will contact those guys,
Yeah.
Philip and.
Brittany and I'll get together and decide when we should do that.
And you want to do that before we met with Tim from ADC?
Yes.
All right. Anybody have any board, committee, or commission report?
We had a foster grandparents, board, advisory board meeting, this afternoon, right before this one, actually. We discussed, a couple of different things, some of our fundraisers that we got coming up. We, plan on, they just started a candle sale up as a fundraiser. They worked with Milk House Candles, to, get, some of the jar candles. And we also, went through Vistaprint and had, some foster grandparent labels printed out, so some stickers. So they've stuck those all to the candles and they officially kicked off the sale on November 1st. Asked Brittany to share the post at the foster grandparents webpage on Facebook. So she shared that on the city's page as well. Those candles are going for $20 each, and the foster grandparents program gets $11.95 in proceeds from each candle. So it's a nice fundraiser. We also plan on putting on a soup supper on December 5th, right after the holiday parade that we'll have get started up and have. And we also are gonna have a float in the holiday parade as well. We'll be serving chili, chicken, and noodles, and then ham and potato soup at that with assorted desserts and everything. So you guys make sure you spread the word and come on out and join us also. And then lastly, they're kind of up in the air in limbo. The program is funded until June 30th. The fiscal year has already been funded this fiscal year, but the government is shut down, so nothing's happening in right now as far as negotiations towards the next phase of funding, if that's even going to happen. So we're kind of in limbo, but we're in a safe space until June 30th at least. So that's pretty much all we discussed. We'll just move forward until we can't move forward.
Good, thank you. Anybody else have any reports? If not, we have a motion to adjourn.
So,
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.